Welcome to this video. My name is Eliana and today we're gonna see how do migratory birds find their way. We'll uncover how these incredible creatures navigate their journeys across the globe. Have you ever wondered how these birds travel thousands of miles without getting lost? Let's dive in and find out. Here is what we'll cover in today's video. First, we're gonna see why migratory birds migrate. Second, and briefly, we're gonna talk about how does migration look like. And thirdly, we're gonna talk about the techniques that birds use to reach their destination accurately. Why do birds migrate? Well, migration can be triggered by a combination of changes in day length, low temperatures, changes in food supplies, and genetic predisposition. Mainly, there are four reasons. First, they exploit the seasonal abundance of food that is found in other sites. They avoid harsh weather conditions or conditions that are not appropriate for their species. And they reach suitable breeding sites, but also reduce competition for resources generally. So we can say that birds migrate to have access to the best resources all year long. Migration routes are also known as flyways. They vary in distance. Birds travel along these paths every year, and the routes are generally classified into short, medium, and long distances. Here you can see them in a picture. As an example, I want to talk about the Arctic tern, which is a bird that undertakes long migration from the Arctic to the Antarctic, covering up to 44,000 miles annually. But now let's talk about the navigational cues and techniques that birds utilize. Firstly, we have celestial navigation, which involves using the sun, moon, and stars to orient oneself. Then we also have the use of the Earth's magnetic field. Birds have special receptors that can detect magnetic fields acting like a built-in compass. And they also use landmarks and topography to help themselves recognize familiar landscapes. They follow rivers, mountains, and coastlines to stay on course. Some birds, like seabirds, navigate also by using their sense of smell. For example, petrels use scent to navigate the open ocean. Not all birds fly together in flocks. However, for those who do, social learning is where young birds learn the routes from experienced adults. Finally, another important factor is genetic programming. Some behaviors are hardwired in their genes, so even without prior experience, birds instinctively know where to go. Now we are going to dive deeper into the magnetic compass technique, and let's dive into it. But how do birds actually see the Earth's magnetic field? So first of all, the magnetic compass is a vital tool for them. Birds can sense the angle of the Earth's magnetic field lines to determine their position. And it is believed to function through two primary mechanisms, the radical pair mechanism and the magnetic map information. So how is the visual information gathered? Here, cryptochrome proteins play a big role. Cryptochrome proteins are a type of protein that is found in various organisms, including birds. In birds, these proteins are located in the retinal cells of the bird's eye and are at particularly high concentration during the migration periods. When cryptochromes absorb blue light, they undergo a chemical reaction that produces pairs of radicals. Radicals are molecules with unpaired electrons that are thought to interact with the Earth's magnetic field, sensing their chemical properties in a way that can be detected by the bird's nervous system. This mechanism allows them to perceive the magnetic field and use it as a guide. This phenomenon is referred as magnetoreception. The second mechanism is the magnetite-based mechanism, which creates a magnetic map that is used as information by the bird during migration. To create this map, the bird relies on the early exploration and dispersal flights in their home region, and additionally they acquire the respective knowledge on the map for their extended journeys during their first migration. These mechanisms are primarily innate. Some studies suggest that the presence of magnetite, so this magnetic mineral in certain cells of the bird's beak, can physically respond to the magnetic fields and send signals to the bird's brain about the magnetic field's direction and intensity. Birds integrate multiple sensory information for an accurate navigation. They might use a combination of the cues that I talked about before, and different species might rely more on some information rather than on another. Nevertheless, this integration ensures that even if one method fails, the other can compensate, guiding birds accurately to their destination. About multisensory integration, while the complete neural mechanisms are not fully understood, significant progress has been made in identifying the major components involved. So I wanted to take a brief but closer look at the integration pathways in a bird's brain. Here we can observe the four major information pathways, so the visual celestial compass, magnetic compass, the magnetic map, and olfaction, which we talked about before. And all of them are processed in the respective areas, and afterwards the information is integrated in the hippocampal area. And additionally, the decision-making area, which is the NCL, the caudolateral nido pallido, is gathering this information, and there is a subsequential activation of the motor system, so a motor output. I hope you now have a clearer answer to the question, how do migratory birds find their way? Migratory birds find their way using a combination of various navigational techniques. They store, integrate, and retrieve information, ensuring a steady and accurate flight. I thank you all for joining me in this journey, and next time you'll see a flock of birds overhead, you'll know just a little bit more about the science behind their travels. Here you can find all the information regarding the bibliography that I used and following the images.